Great. Can you guys hear me? Is this mic working? Yes? No? Kind of? All right, who has an extra seat beside them? Just put up your hand. Okay, so if you need an extra seat and you are worried about falling down that blue contraption, as I would be, feel free to move into any of those seats. My name is Darrell. I'm CEO of Candybox Marketing, a couple other agencies that I'll talk about. Today, I really want to focus on digital marketing trends and opportunities. To let you know a little bit about myself, I really love my job because all I get to do is speak to groups of people. But most of the people I get to speak to are like old business owners in the States. And so this is a lot more exciting for me than going down to Florida and talking to a bunch of guys. Last week it was actually really interesting. I was talking to this one guy. I was at an electrical conference and he was telling me how his wires taste better than his competitors' wires. I kid you not. Like, these conferences are that lame that's like the most exciting thing that I could tell you about. But as I get going here, I'm in social media marketing and all that fun stuff, so I am tasked with, you know, taking pictures of where I go and all that stuff. So yes, we're going to take a selfie together now. The problem with taking selfies in front of groups of people, I don't know if you guys know this, but if you take a selfie in front of a group of people, it's actually terrible. It turns out awful because everybody just stares at me taking a picture of them staring at me taking a picture awkwardly, and they'll never post it. It's terrible. So I wanted to solve this problem, so I got a team of scientists together. This is completely bull, but you know, it's the only false stat. I'm going to give you the entire presentation, I promise. And they said that people look 80% happier if their arms are directly in the air. Okay? You see that? Right? No change in facial expression, but I just look like I'm having a much better time. And so what we're going to do for this picture is it's going to do this countdown. We're going to take a picture. At around 3 seconds, I'm going to get everybody to raise their arms up just because you'll look excited regardless of the facial expression. And then I'll post it everywhere, and then you'll find yourself and tag yourself, and it'll be fun. Are you guys good with this? This works? Okay, great. So I'm going to get a good position here. What do we got? Perfect. Great. We got 10 seconds. So let me just see what works really well. All right. So I think this is good. 6, 5. All right. 4. Everyone hands up. Great, perfect. That's all that matters. As long as it looks like we're having a good, successful time, who cares how the event actually goes? So to give you a quick summary about myself and what I do, I started Candybox Marketing about 8 years ago, and so it's a full-service digital marketing agency. We're based out of Mississauga, but we work with clients across Canada and the U.S. Last year, I'm trying to build credibility. I'm not trying to just gloat, but I'm just trying to say the stuff I'm going to tell you today is probably good because we're doing some cool stuff. I won Entrepreneur of the Year from 2 different organizations last year, including Camp. We got an Award of Excellence from the Governor General. I speak about 50 different events per year, and not because we've come up with this really amazing like software solution, or you know, we just got a lot of funding or anything like that. It's just because our clients talk about us. And we produced results for a lot of clients that have made literally millions of dollars. And it's not using, you know, like, I'm not going to show you stuff and saying, hey, once you do all these different things, then maybe you'll be able to launch this. I want to tell you about stuff today that actually works, and most of the time is on like 0 budget. Does that sound good? How many of us are in like actually startup mode right now? We're actually starting a company. Awesome. So I guarantee at the end of the session, if you don't get one good piece of information, you can beat the crap out of me in the parking lot. That's not an actual promise, but anyways. 2 years ago, I started a company called Launch 48. I've got about 4 different businesses. I'm a bit of an entrepreneur. I just can't really sit still. I've also got 4 kids. As you can tell, I don't have any cable at home. And people usually laugh at that when they're older, but you guys, it just didn't work. I actually have 4 kids, 8. They're 8, 7, 5, and 3 right now. So if you do the math, I haven't slept in about 8 years. We started Launch 48 about 1.5 years ago, and this was specifically for all those customers that came to us and saying, hey, we want everything that you do, but we don't have any time, and we don't have any money, and yet we still want a website. And so we built an incubator that basically builds websites in 2 days flat, which is pretty awesome, and we've been winning some cool stuff. Some guys of you have heard of that. So what I want to talk about today mainly is how our customers have changed. And this may not be news to you because a lot of people in this room are of a younger generation, which is fantastic. So we get this stuff natively. But the problem is that businesses have been doing business the same way for the last 10, 20, 30 years, and they haven't changed the methods in which they're communicating with their customers. And so when we talk about marketing, even digital marketing, people see it as advertisements, they see it as impressions, they don't see it as relationships, and they're really failing to connect with their customer. I was in Starbucks down there right before I came in, and I actually was in lineup, and I was just like, getting my app ready to pay, and I looked around and I counted. There was 33 people at that Starbucks, and 32 of them were looking at a device. Okay, 32. There was one person standing off to the side, looking at everybody, like a psychopath. Okay, like it's actually awkward not to be staring at a screen. Like everybody's like every once in a while like, don't make too much eye contact with this guy or he'll think you're weird. You just stare at something. And so our customers have changed so much, and yet a lot of the ways in which companies are marketing or go to market, they're like, oh, you're in real estate. Okay, great. Here's your marketing program. Here's your website program. Here's what you need to do to be successful, which may have worked 10 years ago. But the rules have changed so much, and it's actually becoming, like in one sense, a little bit easier to market to people. It's becoming more accessible, and yet a lot of companies aren't changing. This gives us, startups, a ton of opportunity to gain a lot of market share. And I'm going to show you about this very soon. Our customers are suffering from ADD, right? Attention directed downwards. They're staring like this all the time. This microphone doesn't even work, does it? It's not even working. It's live streaming. Hello, online people. Thank you for not joining us. We all walked here in the cold, but no, you just sit at home and watch this live streaming and get the same amount of credit. So, anyways, we've got to move forward in regards to how we're thinking, because I went to school for marketing 10 years ago. And they're like, okay, what's your market? What's your message? What's your medium? Repeat, and it just doesn't make sense. So today I want to talk about marketing that works in this age where everybody's just staring at their phones. I'm going to turn mine off so it doesn't waste battery, because we all know once you're at 1%, I have an anxiety attack. I want to talk about different consumer stories of how people are buying stuff, okay? Because the purchase habits have changed so drastically, and yet there's still challenges in the market. You're like, well, Darrell, you know what, that's really great for this, that's really great for that consumer product, but our company is different. Our company needs a one-on-one. Our company doesn't exist in the digital marketplace. And this is a story. One morning I woke up, and it's probably like 6 o'clock in the morning. My kids are just climbing all over my bed and hurting me as they do so. And like any good father, the first thing I do is get out my smartphone and I just start going through emails first and then notifications and stuff. And how many of us, before we're actually vertical in the morning, are on our phones? How many of us? Okay, about half, 3/4. Okay, about a quarter of us are lying. That's okay. Just warming up. You can't actually raise your hand without standing out. Everybody was doing it, guys. And so, I was on my phone, and then I see this advertisement here from Clearly Contacts, right? And they have this picture of these Mustang 1909 glasses. They're linking it back in the ad to Mustang the car. Now, if you don't know me, I really like Mustangs. I've driven Mustangs my entire life. Well, since I could start driving, I'm a Mustang fanatic, and I was like, oh, interesting, they've come up with glasses to go with the car. Seems like a stupid idea, but hey, I clicked on the ad, right? I was like, oh, that's really interesting. So I click on the ad, and I'm looking at these glasses online, and it's like, hey, watch a 5-minute video about glasses. I was like, who's going to watch a 5-minute? Okay, fine, right? Watching the video. So I'm going through the video, and it's what's called like a variable video, right? It's taking certain product images and inserting the text over top of it, so it's dynamic and really cool. So I'm going through and seeing it on different people's faces and stuff. And as I'm done this video, it's like, okay, I'm like, you got me. These glasses are super cool, but why do I buy glasses online? That's stupid. Like, you've got to feel them. You've got to like have them a certain measurement for your face. And then there was a call to action on the website saying, hey, start my fit. I was like, okay, so I clicked the button. Then it said, hey, it activated my camera, allowed it first, or else that's really creepy. It's also 6 a.m., I look terrible. And so, it activates the camera and says, hold up a card, not a credit card because of privacy, but any card, like any type of card that's the same size as a credit card, underneath your nose. And then I was measuring, and it measured where my pupils were, and then it figured out how far apart my pupils were and everything part of my face. And then it said, hey, you're whatever the measurement of optometry, I don't know the term, it was like pediometric whatevers. And it's like, hey, you're like 63 pedio blah, 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 blah. And I was like, okay, great. And then it said, hey, we've sized your glasses. They're in the shopping cart. Check out. And I was like, sure. Yeah. Right? Bought the glasses. That was Saturday morning. Monday morning, I got the glasses. And I was like, holy crap, this is pretty cool. Now, like, the fun part about that story isn't that I got them like 2 days later, which I think is still incredible, right? The fun part isn't, the fact that I actually bought glasses online and that I've never even bought glasses. The weird part is that like I actually don't need glasses. Okay, they're just glass. Like go ahead and look. Like they're not prescription. They're just glass. Okay, and so me as a whatever-year-old waking up in the morning thinking to myself, it's true, right? They're just glass. I would never buy glasses online. I would think, and even if I needed glasses, which I didn't, I wouldn't buy them online. I have to touch them and feel them. And if you were to come to me and say, Darrell, we want to start a business and we're going to be doing glasses online and measuring it for people's faces, I may even tell you as an entrepreneur that's a stupid idea. Nobody does that stuff online. And yet I have these $100 pair of glasses that now I have to bring around with me to remind myself of how many dumb purchase decisions I've made on a regular basis. If this company, if Clearly Contacts, can sell glasses online using Facebook to somebody that doesn't need glasses at 6 a.m. in his bed on a Saturday morning, your business can probably succeed. All right? So let's have some fun with some content. In regards to being top of mind with our consumer, right? We know this digital marketing stuff. Guys, this is native to us. We get this, okay? 3 to 5 Canadians leave reviews for companies on a monthly basis. The majority of us, all right? I was in our studio the other day. We've got about a team of about 15 full-time staff at Candybox. And I walked in, I had a part of the conversation, and this one girl was like, yeah, she goes, I did something crazy last night. We're like, what'd you do? She goes, I went to this restaurant. I didn't even check out the reviews. And we're like, people are like gasping. They're like, oh, how did you know there was good food? She's like, I didn't. I just walked in. Like, I literally just walked into the place, no review reading. And we're like, how was it? She's like, it was terrible. We're like, see? Don't ever do that again. But the reality is we're leaving reviews for businesses in so many companies. I met with a realtor today, and this realtor, I'm being very transparent with you guys because this is a really cool group to be a part of. And this realtor told me, he goes, you get me 100 positive Google reviews, I'll give you $10,000. And I looked at him and I was like, from who? Like, are you a good realtor? Like, do you suck that badly that you have to pay people to say online that you're awesome? Like, this is pathetic. Like, but that's old school coming into the new way of doing things. And we've got to start thinking about different strategies, of which I'm going to show you today, about how to empower our customers to talk about ourselves. We check our smartphones 150 times per day. All right? That means during the course of this hour and a half session or whatever, you're going to check your smartphones 13 times. Okay? He hasn't gone off his cell phone back there. That's okay. That's fine. He's taking notes. It's great. But we have to understand that our market has changed so much. And actually, I heard something funny. The other day, there was a report that said that 91% of millennials in a private study, okay, so they surveyed a whole bunch of millennials in a private study, they said that 91% of them admit to using their phone while pooping. Okay, specifically pooping. All right? Not like this generic in the washroom, maybe she was taking a selfie, none of that crap, like actual crap, all right? Which means, in my books, that 9% of millennials lie in private studies, because you've always done it sometime, right? Just don't ever touch anybody else's phone. So we got to understand, like, we want to be in front of our customer. What are we doing in regards to mobile marketing? People think it's a trend. It's like this is not, or a fad. It's not a fad. It's a trend. It's existing. We take a look at social, right? It's the number one place to find deals. People are like, oh, should we be on Facebook? It's like, are you joking with me? It's like, should I have an address? It's just ridiculous. This was another story that happened to me recently. My wife asked for a red KitchenAid mixer for Christmas, which means in my household that means I want this. I'm asking for it for Christmas. If you get it for me for Christmas, I'll kill you, because it's a kitchen appliance, so get it for me after Christmas. And so that's our love language. And so Boxing Day, we went out to go get this KitchenAid mixer. We got an email from Walmart saying, hey, they're regularly like $500. They're on sale for $300. And I load all the kids into the truck. We go out and put all the kids in the shopping cart like you're not supposed to do, okay? Dad of the year again. And we're pushing along, and then we find like my wife is standing there. We find the shelves with all the red KitchenAid mixer, except for there's only one left. All right. Now there's not a lot of people around, so I'm not concerned. So I just like bend down, just to kind of like just look at this red KitchenAid mixer, just making sure that like the thing that's in the box is actually the same that's on the picture of the box, that it's actually red, or else I have to go back, etc. So anyways, I'm reading this box, and I feel these arms, okay, like go over my shoulders, grab the box, and this lady takes it and puts it in her cart. I'm not kidding. This is in Mississauga. Okay, this is not like Buffalo, all right? Like I'm blown away. So I stand up, I'm shocked, right? I look at my wife and kids, they're all silent. Okay, the first time in 8 years, they've all been silent at the exact same time. And I look back at this lady, and she's putting in her cart, looking at me, like, ha ha ha. Like, I got it, you didn't. There's none left. And now my problem is that I'm as Canadian as they come. Like, I've got First Nations. My grandmother was from Newfoundland. I'm 9th generation Canadian. And I apologize when people hit me. Like, it's embarrassing. And I didn't know what to do, right? So I just looked at her. And I looked at my wife, and my wife is waiting for her husband to defend her and get the box. And so I was just I just conjured up the most offensive thing I could possibly say. I just looked at her. I was like, really? You know? You know? Kind of felt a little bit of American coming out. You're like, really? You're like, yeah, I just said that. And this lady, she's like, oh yeah. She walks away with this card. I'm like, oh my gosh. So what do you do in times like that, right? What do you do as a consumer when you're going through crisis? Right? You pull out your weapon, right? Pull out your phone, remember, not the US, open the Amazon app, scan the barcode, comes up immediately, right? Red KitchenAid mixer, on sale, $249. Just save 50 more bucks, right? Amazon Prime, click, done, checkout, gone. Awesome. Go back to my wife. My wife's like, what are we going to do? I'm like, just ordered it, Amazon Prime, save 50 bucks. Let's just buy waffles on the way home. We'll get it tomorrow, right? That's it. Right? Consumer habits have changed. And Google just reported these stats. They said that 70% of Canadian smartphone users consult their phones while in a store. Okay, so while we're shopping, we're looking at our phones. Now, retailers are actually threatened by this, and they're like, oh, this is not good, this is bad, and it's all becoming a commodity business. And yet it says that 48% of Canadian smartphone users say that they feel more confident about the purchase that they're making after consulting their phone in a store. So our consumers are rapidly changing, and this is going to be different. Now, sometimes you say, well, that's just consumer goods. What about bigger goods, okay? Take a look at Tesla. Guys, this business case, I feel like there's going to be documentaries on the day that the Model 3 came out. I'm not sure if you guys heard the stats, but Tesla had the most amount of consumer sales in a 1-hour period than any other company in the history of the world. History of the world. That's a pretty big stat, right? And when they went on, this is the Model S, this is the Model 3, Elon Musk walked on the stage, they did this live stream, did what we're doing here, same technology, a keynote about the Model 3, and not only are these consumers not touching and seeing this car, the car hasn't been built yet. And the car has not even been built yet, but the manufacturing plant to build that car hasn't been built yet. Okay, and the batteries that they need to ship to the warehouse to build the car that is hopefully going to be available in 2018, they haven't mined for the materials for the battery yet. And yet he walks on stage, and did anyone actually watch that keynote? Any of us? Okay. Everybody's sitting in the center here. Strange. All right. And is this like a Tesla get-together kind of thing, or you guys know each other? And he walks on stage, he clumsily delivers a keynote, but had already engaged a ton of online advocates and people to spread the news and to talk about it. And he walked off stage and they whispered in his ear, they said, Elon, they're like, we sold 135,000 cars. 135,000 cars were sold. And people haven't even, it was the first time that they saw the car, and yet they're like, yep, $1,000 down, not a problem, deposit, done. All right, that's insane. They use that money to build the manufacturing plant to be able to build the cars. Now, you may say, well, what is 135,000 cars? Is that a lot or is that little? In 2010, Chevy came up with the Volt, right? The other electric car, right? So a similar car, similar specs, cheap, right, available. But Chevy has a dealership at every single auto mall. Chevy's across Canada, the US. They've got all the networks. They had direct mail programs, they had commercials, they had PR experts, they had everybody. They didn't have all the online advocates that Tesla did, but they put it out there. It took them 5 years to sell 100,000 units. 5 years, all right? Tesla did it in 1 hour, online streaming stuff. The rules have changed in regards to advertising, all right? And all that customers saw online was this one landing page, all right? This landing page, all this is just a quick video at the top here of the actual car here, and a little bit of a paragraph down here. And so we just move up the page. Come on, is this thing going to work? There you go. Okay, so we see just a few infographics about the actual page, right, and what's going on here. As we keep going down here, it's just going to show us pictures of what the car kind of looks like, but it's not in production. We've got a couple images there, and then down at the bottom we've got live streaming with this guy and a button to spend $1,000 on that car that you were just introduced to, and you only get it in 2 years. Okay, in an on-demand generation, this is the biggest consumer movement ever, and we have one single website landing page that dealt with that entire consumer process. This is pretty big. Okay, we don't need the marketing budgets like we used to. We just actually need some good ideas. All right. We talk about, the actual business model changing. Well, this is, say hello to your new car dealership, right? They're not even calling them dealerships anymore. We've currently launched a new company called Dealer Geeks, and we're a preferred vendor for Ford, and we're launching all the Ford websites across Canada, which is really cool this year. But the one thing that they started telling me is that they're like, we're not even calling them dealerships anymore. Because dealerships is about like all this inventory and stuff, where car companies are moving towards this. 1,200 square feet, maybe a car in there, maybe not. And people on tablets walking around just saying, hey, do you want to buy a Tesla P100? Great, okay, let's just put it through your order right here. You don't even need to test drive the car. Why don't you need to test drive the car anymore? What do you guys think?
I was going to say, but Tesla, like at Yorkdale, they have a bunch of cars down in the parking lot.
They do have them in the parking lot. Now, I've spoken to the people at Tesla. They said most people don't even test drive them. And the weird part is that people, even if they have an intention to test drive it, they forget about test driving it because they've watched so many YouTube videos. They've interacted with it so many times online. Google reported recently in the auto industry that they said before you buy a car, the entire process of buying a car, you'll have 900 different digital interactions. Clicks, blogs, images, video, 900. 71% of those, and this is all Google stats, 71% of those are done on either a mobile or a tablet device. Okay, so the entire car buying process is actually being like uprooted. All right, this is changing really quickly. We take a look at what the market is calling market disruption. Right. This is a term that every keynoter is talking about. They're like, oh, disruption, and and they're almost making that as a synonym for Uber, and they're like, oh, we're the Uber of this, and we're the Uber of that, and it basically means taking over market. Now, I actually personally don't like the definition of disruption because it limits what companies can do. This is like the Webster's dictionary, or to be honest, guys, I just Googled it. Whatever Google said on top, dictionary of what market disruption is. Okay, a situation where markets cease to function in a regular manner, typically characterized by rapid and large market declines. All right? I think this is a definition for the depressed people. Like, this is really sad. All right? This is absolutely terrible. But when you look at Blockbuster, right, that was a huge market disruption. Funny story, my daughter the other day, we actually have a Blockbuster by our house that is still, boarded up and everything like that. For some reason, nobody's moved in. She goes, Dad, what was there? I was like, oh, a movie store. She's like, oh, we had a theater by our house? I was like, she's 8, right? I was like, no, you could rent movies. She's like, oh, why would you go to the store to rent movies? And I was like, well, you go there to rent a movie, then you go home and watch it. She's like, oh, I get it. Okay, so you go to the store, you rent it, you pay the guy, and then you go home and it's on Apple TV. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, no. I was like, they have boxes with discs. And like DVDs. She's like, what's a DVD? I was like, CDs. She's like, what's a CD? I was like, holy hell, like this is really hard. I was like, it's like a flat donut that you put into a machine and plays a movie. Like, I was stressed. And she's like, oh. She goes, that seems pretty stupid. I was like, yeah, I know. She goes, but it's kind of cool that you get to keep the disc afterwards. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, no, you actually have to go back in your car and return it. She goes, oh, okay, so you give it back to them. She's like, yeah. She goes, okay, I get it. She goes, so, but like, whenever you have it, then you give it back to them, it's there. So it's like, well, if you're over 2 days, then you get charged more money. She's like, how do they find you? I'm like trying to go through this entire thing, like, this doesn't make sense. Like, Blockbuster to 8-year-olds, like to my 8-year-old, and she's not, she's pretty smart. It doesn't make any sense, and yet people are like, oh, well, it's all about new businesses taking over old businesses, and I don't agree with that. Market disruption is not about one company just dominating and taking over an old one. Because Netflix came in, right? Remember Netflix? And Netflix, this is my current definition of what happened with that situation, is when new business models, not new businesses, when new business models make lots of money taking over old ones. Okay? It doesn't even need to be a new company. It's not us versus them. It's not Uber versus the entire cab industry. Somebody could have come up with these ideas within these companies, but they chose not to change over time, which is very sad. I don't know if you guys know this, but in year 2000, Blockbuster was evaluated. Their total, like if you were to sell off Blockbuster, it was worth $7 billion, okay? Not a bad company. Little Netflix came up to them in 2004 and said, hey, will you buy us? We're for sale. You've got the customers, you've got the distribution, you've got the rights to all these things, you've got the agreements, you've got all this. It makes sense for you just to acquire us. What's the price? $50 million, okay? That's nothing for like a $6 to $7 billion company, okay? Blockbuster turned them down. Netflix came back 3 different times and asked them, hey, buy us. Like, this doesn't make a lot of sense, right? Turn down, turn down, turn down. In 2010, Blockbuster went bankrupt. And in 2016, Netflix is now worth $25 billion. Blockbuster could have done that. If you read the news just last summer, Netflix is no longer a movie streaming company. They just bought the most amount of real estate in Hollywood since Hollywood started. Okay, they actually bought massive production studios. They're buying up actors, actresses, screenwriters, directors, all that stuff because they want to get rid of all the rights and stupid stuff that were set up by the previous genre of companies, and now they're moving it into a different thing. It's just about making new business models. Okay, it's not like everybody's losing out. And so in this market of disruption, my question to you is, what idea, what model do you have that can start to adjust the market? And Netflix didn't come up with anything that new. I know that may be a bit of a big statement to make, but streaming online already existed. Online subscription already existed. They just started making the connections with the customer and started communicating a certain service, right? And they were known as the industry disruptors. My quick quote here is, disrupting an industry is no longer about developing new technology, it's about embracing it. Developers will even say, if you're in development and stuff, I've got a whole team of developers, but my philosophy is that 95% of the code that is needed for the next 20 years has actually already been written, right? Entrepreneurs are the people that just get it and make it work for their certain situation. It says right now, if you're not in B2B or business to consumer, and you're more B2B, right? You're just selling your services to other businesses. Sometimes people kind of check out and just say, you know what, Darrell, I'm a consultant, or I'm an agent, or I work in manufacturing, or we're working with other companies, and that's great because the same people that buy stuff as consumers also buy things as businesses. Businesses don't buy things. All right, I went through school in marketing, and B2B was in another class, and B2C was different, and people always treated it like this different animal, and it's so weird because it's actually the exact same thing. You just have less of them. You have less customers when you're marketing to businesses, right? And so when you're dealing with a business owner, so for example, if you were going to buy something from me, you're a person, I'm a person, there's a relationship, there's marketing, there's messaging, there's communication. Right? And so sometimes people say, well, we don't need to be here because our market is B2B. That is not the case. People buy things from people. This stat from Forrester Research in 2014 in Canada says that today's business-to-business customer, so if you're going after companies, today's customer is already 60 to 90% of the way through the purchase process, through their purchase decisions, before they ever speak to their vendor. What does that mean? That if it's like from like here, if my purchase decision starts here and thinking, hey, I need a new email campaign software, or I need a place to lease, or I'm looking for a consultant, or I'm looking for this online service, and my journey is to that window over there, okay? And so this is my entire purchase process from conception to end. When I contact a company, stats say, I'm here, okay? So this entire journey here has actually already happened online. All right? And so I've evaluated vendors. I've taken a look at the competition. I've read reviews. I've done a ton of research before I ever make a phone call. This means that even for companies going after different companies, that our online pathway, right, our online persona, everything that happens about our companies online is 60 to 90% of the battle to actually winning new customers. All right? And we can see that in tons of different markets. I was recently speaking to one of the general managers for Ford Canada, and auto malls were actually built, way back in, I don't even know when I don't know when auto malls were built. I'll just lie to you. When they were built, they were made for walkers. You'd walk up the street and you walk into Ford and say, hey, what do you have in a four-door sedan? Then you walk into Honda and you'd be like, hey, can I try it? I'll test drive this, I'll try this. And that's how you shop for cars, which is stupid. It would take a long time. And that's where the sleazy salesman came around. Because he knew that if he got you in his showroom and got you into his office and could keep you there and not cross the street and walk over to Honda, that he can get your money. Okay? That's the concept. Now, I asked Ford, I said, what percentage of people know what they want to buy as they walk into your showroom? So if somebody walks into your showroom, what percentage of people know what car they want? Do you know what percentage he said? Any guesses? 80. Good guess. Any other guesses? 90. 100. This guy wins. 100%. I was shocked. I was just listening for some validation between 60 to 90%. He said, no. Everybody that walks in here knows exactly what they want. He actually told me, I'm not going to tell you his name because then he'd get in trouble. He said, you know what our biggest problem is? And I was like, what? He goes, our customers know more about the vehicle that they're buying than the salesperson that I hired to sell that vehicle. And so our salespeople, when they're meeting with the customer, they're like, hey, you're interested in a Ford Focus? Great. And the customer's walking behind them with all the papers. They know all the options. They know the price. They know everything. The sales guy has no clue what's going on. All right? And so most of them smile and nod as the customer is like, oh, yeah, so this thing gets, 9.2 liters to 100 kilometers. They're like, yeah, it does. It really does. And they don't know what's going on. The reason why they go into the back of the dealership to work out the deal is because they have to figure out what the heck you're talking about. All right? This has changed. So we need to think about what our digital path is. As a new business, it doesn't matter if you're selling Twinkies or cars or consulting services. We need to pay attention to our customers' digital path. All right? What do your customers see when they research you? When they Google your company name, what do they see? When they Google your personal name, what do they see? All right? These are really important things. I talk at college and university all the time, and I gotta say, look at your digital footprint. Spend one day, open up a Chrome browser, go incognito, so nothing is customized for your viewing pleasure, and Google your name and start searching, because that's what our customers are actually doing to us. Right? Myself, I'm everywhere. I'm the first 28 pages of Google. All right? There's a Darrell Keezer in Nova Scotia at page 20 whatever, and I think he probably hates my guts. All right? Just because I shamelessly promote myself, I'm everywhere. But I want to be everywhere because it's either me speaking about myself or it's my customer speaking about me, which could be negative. Not saying it is. I haven't had a single negative review in my career so far, thank God, knock on wood. But it's that could be a problem for people. All right, I was speaking at this other conference, and it was a really cool room. It was 200 people. They were all net worth 20 million or plus, right? And 200 people. And it was at the Ritz-Carlton. And I was the next speaker. And as I was sitting there, I was bored as anything. It was a financial conference, and yeah, anyways. And so what do I start doing? So I look at the guy beside me, and his name was something Vander, whatever. And I was like, hey, I'm going to Google him, right? So I start Googling him. Why? I want to know who I'm about to speak to. So I Google his name. There's nothing about this guy online, zero. No Facebook, no LinkedIn, no Twitter, nothing. And so I just, when you just keep Googling, you're like, I can find him. Just you wait. And the only thing I could find was a domain name that he had registered 14 years previous for a private Christian school in Oakville. So I was like, oh, interesting, right? So he's in private schooling. So but then when he registered the domain, I think he was just starting up the company because he registered, this address. It was 1471 Greenbrier Crescent in Oakville. I was like, oh, interesting, right? I Googled that, and it's a residential address. I'm like, oh, this guy didn't, register the business address. So I click onto it, get into the street view. I'm looking at his house, and he's got a 2016 black Jeep Commander, and his lawn is a perfect 1.2 inches cut, edges and all the rest, and he had recently planted new trees. And this is a true story, guys. I'm not making this up. He'd recently planted new trees. I could see how dark the soil was, and it was those umbrella trees. And so his name is Vander something. So I'm guessing he's Dutch. The trees are these Italian trees, so I'm guessing he's married to an Italian. And his neighbor has a 1992 Honda Civic, it doesn't look like it's worked in 10 years, sitting in the driveway, probably belonging to their kid or something, and their grass is going over onto his grass, and he cuts on the line, so he's a little bit anal and protective over his. Anyways, so I get through all this, and that's what I have. That's all I have to go after this guy. And afterwards, this guy came up and spoke to me. He's like, hey, great job on the thing about social media, but you know what? This is a bunch of crap. He's like, you know what? I'm not online, and I prefer to keep it that way. And I was like, what do I do here? He's with a friend. I'm like, either this guy is going to think that I'm a genius or he's going to call the police. And so I just decided, well, screw it. I was like, well, what if I were to tell you that you live on Greenbrier Crescent in Oakville, that you hate your neighbor because his grass grows too long, that you probably married an Italian lady because she planted these umbrella trees in the front, and went on and on. The guy next to him was like, he's like, imagine if that were true. The guy's like, no, that's all true. And he was really scared. He said, what do I do? I said, just exist. Have something for people to consume online about you so that they don't go digging. I know it's a weird world, but social creeping is like the highest form of like flattery in this day and age, right? How many of you creeped me before you got in here today? Be honest. It's flattery. Oh, thanks. Thanks, guys. All right, so we gotta think about that. Now, we want to also think about the demographics, right? Demographics of Canadians have changed. And marketers and marketing companies and businesses are still marketing to people like the same old ways, which is just really ridiculous. And this next slide is really important. It's a blank slide because typically I'm presenting to baby boomers. And so this slide is actually warning for me to make sure that the doors are closed and that nobody leaves, because I have had somebody shout at me and walk out, because my next slide is technically my most offensive slide to most audiences. You guys ready? All right, good. All right, boomers are rapidly expiring technology morons and has-beens that need to retire and spread the wealth. Okay? This is a statement. It's not true. Most people didn't get to that. The guy that walked out didn't get to that part of my segment. It's not true, right? We all think, oh, you know what, Darrell, we're not going after this digital marketing stuff. We're going after baby boomers. We're going after older people. Like, this isn't going to work. And I've got guys that tell me that all the time. Where if we actually take a look at baby boomers, this is a picture of my mom, my 4 kiddos. She would kill me if she ever found out I've been showing this picture for like years. But anyways, it's my mom. And her demographic, she's a baby boomer. She's retired. She lives in Muskoka. And, and she is not a digital native, right? Like, she calls me once a month because she wants to update her iPhone, and I have to tell her what her iTunes password is, and it is still our original house address growing up, right? And I have to give her the address again, and then she types it in. And so she's not a digital native, but she's a digital immigrant. Okay, which we're finding a lot of boomers are in that category. They have moved in to being digital, and they're equally afraid of technology, and they're using it a lot. So we've got my mom here, and she's now part of the group that would be mobile-only users. Do you know that most baby boomers are afraid of desktop machines? They're afraid of them. They don't want to have desktop machines anymore. Why? They would break. Or a fan would go, and their kids have moved out, so they don't know what to do. So they buy tablets and phones, and their entire lives and worlds are only operating off of these devices, where we always think that's just kids. All right, if we, last year, she called me, she's like, hey, Darrell, she's like, by the way, just to let you know, I switched banks, and when you're sending me this check, et cetera, she's like, I'm no longer with this bank, I'm with this new bank. And I was like, Mom, I was like, you've been with the same bank for 43 years. You've told me about the importance of like building a relationship with a bank. I was like, you've got like, in my mind, I didn't say this, but I'm like, she had her old mortgages there. She's got her investments there, her RSPs, rental stuff, like payments, bills, all that stuff. She knows the number off by heart, and it was just like, she's so loyal as a customer. I was like, what happened? Right, with your banker. She would actually drive in to meet with the teller. Have you guys ever met a teller before? They're actually these people that do transactions that people can do on the phone. And so she actually meets with her teller every single week, Judy, and Judy probably knows more about my kids than I'd like to even admit. And so I was like, what happened? And she's like, oh, Darrell, you know what? She goes, at first I actually asked her if Judy died, but that wasn't the case. She's like, no. She goes, I was on Facebook, and I'm not sure if you shared it or your brother, but I saw this picture or this video of somebody depositing a check using their phone. Okay, little known fact, baby boomers don't know that sponsored advertising is on social media, all right? So she just clicked on an ad. I was like, oh, really? That's interesting. So she's like, yeah. So I clicked on it, and I downloaded the app, but it didn't work because I wasn't with that bank. It didn't work with my bank. It's a TD app, and she goes, and it didn't work with my BMO check. And I was like, yeah, I know. She goes, well, so I drove to TD and I set up an account, and now I can deposit all my checks, and it just saves me a lot of time. Okay, I was floored. I was like, Mom, you now deal with 2 different banks for all of your stuff? That's cumbersome. She goes, oh, no. The people at TD were so helpful. They moved over my mutual funds and my RSPs and my insurance, and they sat down with me. They just moved it all over. It was easy. Holy crap, right? Digital natives and digital immigrants, we can't have the same perception. Their network of choice is Facebook, okay? Baby boomers are all over Facebook. It's embarrassing, right? If I don't post something about my kids on Facebook, not Instagram, because my mom's, she's like, I'm not up with the Insta. And then I was like, okay, this is ridiculous. If I don't post on Facebook, she gets upset at me, right? All of my uncles post really awkward comments on every single photo that I put up there and tell me how proud they are of me, okay? It's an older people network now, but we can use that for social media marketing. We take a look at the year of mobile, right? People are like, oh, this is the year of mobile. It's not. That was 2010. Okay? We need to get onto mobile marketing and social media marketing like never before. This is ridiculous. As of 2016, it says that CEOs and executives spend 2.7 hours on mobile devices versus 2.5 on desktop devices. All right? That means if your business can either be mobile or desktop, choose mobile. This is another fun one that I get more laughs at, but isn't really funny at all. Another perception about the Canadian demographics. Millennials are lazy, entitled kids that live in their parents' basements. That's offensive. All right? This isn't true. This is another perception about a demographic that isn't true. And to prove my point, someone's taking a picture of this. That's great. Do you have it? No, that's okay. You can take a picture. Here, I'll go in front of it. Just go like this. Good. All right. And so this isn't true. Can anyone tell me what kind of car this is? DeLorean. Thank you. You're smiling and you said it. Do you like DeLoreans?
They're pretty big, no?
Okay. All right. Anybody else? Favorite car here? Anyone else like DeLoreans? Does anyone know what they're made out of? They're made out of stainless steel, so they're heavy as stink. They've only got 130 horsepower, but they have gull-wing doors, and you can get one with a flux capacitor from Back to the Future, which is pretty cool. Does anybody know what year this car was made?
It's in the 70s.
Right at the end, 1980. 1980, okay? So this car was made in 1980, also featured in Back to the Future, which a lot of us remember. Millennials in like that, I'm sorry? Is it? John DeLorean?
No, the car was made in New Brunswick.
Oh, no way. Learn something new every day. Canadian car. Now I'm even more proud of it. So this car made in 1980, all right? If, we're talking about millennials, people have defined millennials, and it's not like January 1st, 1980, like a baby was born, like, oh my gosh, this one is so different. Like, look, it's lazy and entitled, like that's not what we're talking about, but like just like a general consensus of looking at different populations. That's what we do as business people, right? We break people into groups and we like making comments about them. But 1980 to 2000, where millennials were born. Okay, now if you own this car and it was built in 1980, how old would it be today? Any guesses? 37. 37 years old, right? So if we take a look at millennials, this is most people's perception about millennials. He's too young to be a millennial, right? Millennials are aged 17 to 37 years old, right? I'm 32. I fit in that group. And I have companies that come to me all the time, they're like, Darrell, you know what, we're not marketing after the people. They don't have disposable income. I'm just like staring at them like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, this is ridiculous. And so as we are part of the younger generation, and for the majority today, realize that everyone's talking about millennials as kids, but they're not kids. They actually have kids. This is a picture of me, my wife, and my kids. I'm a millennial. Right? Millennials now have kids. So they can't be kids if they have kids because it's like that Russian doll situation. Like how small are these kids going to get? It's ridiculous. And so like our perception of digital natives are now, as of last year, have the most amount of purchase power. This is Halloween, by the way. I don't do this every day, okay? Yeah. Just full disclosure. We have the most amount of purchase power out of any other consumer group. Good. That's good news. He gave me a thumbs up. Thank you. All right, so we take a look at millennials, and sorry, this slide is a little bit small here, but the Canadian Marketing Association did a study on millennials just to study them and understand their consumer habits. And when people call them like lazy, entitled kids that live in their parents' basements, we see that there's a couple there's different homogeneous groups within there, right? So we've got critical counterculture, we've got lone wolves, actively disengaged from society and reject authority, rebelling without a cause, 19%, great group to be part of, New traditionalists, practical consumers, watch their money, have a low need for status recognition, diverse drivers, now in their late teens or early 20s, highest proportion of foreign-born millennials. 38%, Bros and Britneys, terrible name from the Marketing Association, but anyways, Bros and Britneys. Urban and suburban, young people showing strong enthusiasm for brands. Number one characteristic of the millennials is that they show strong enthusiasm for brands, AKA they are brand loyalists, all right? If you want to get into a fight with a millennial, there's not a lot of topics that they're going to be upset about, but make fun of their phone's operating system, all right? And you're going to hear it, right? Do we really want to like start it right now? It's like, Android sit here, iPhone sit here, and the rest, like that's offensive. Why? Once they get onto a brand, they're not a customer, they're an advocate. Once they buy something, they're not just going to buy it and just say, oh, this is nice. No, they're going to buy it and they're going to tell every single other person that they just bought that item online, and then they're going to tell people that didn't buy that item, bought something else, that their item is not as awesome as the item that they bought, right? They're always the ones getting the deal, doing the stuff. This is an amazing consumer group to go after. Why? Because they're loyal. We are the most loyal consumer group, where the perception is we are the least loyal. We do a lot of work in the insurance space, and there was a recent study by a Canadian insurance company, Aviva, where they're looking at loyalty within different consumer groups. Guess who is the least amount of loyal, guess which group was the least loyal out of Canadians? Baby boomers. Baby boomers would switch their auto policy, their auto insurance policy, for a difference of $20 per year. All right? That's about $1 a month. Every dollar counts when you're retiring, right? They are not loyal at all. They'll drop you. Like my mom dropped her bank. They're actually terrible customers because you need to keep getting them over and over again, and it's a race to the bottoms. Where the majority of millennials, and I'm going to say this loudly, don't open up their insurance renewal statements. They don't even open it. They don't care. They're like, well, I like Bel Air Direct, so I'm just going to recycle this. Screw it. If my bank statement changes, I'll figure it out. I don't care. All right? This is an incredible opportunity for us marketing out there or launching businesses, getting millennials, because we're not getting customers, we're building advocacy. We now have the most amount of purchase power in this country. All right? Why? We're buying stuff, houses, trying to at least, cars, starting businesses, getting equity, buying clothes, we're upgrading, we're moving, we're changing a lot, we're making a lot of decisions. We are the best consumer group to go after right now. But our purchase habits are terribly confusing. This guy is buying a truck. It's a joke. It was a lame one. Only one girl laughed. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, and so we have to understand that, like, as we're buying stuff, this is a picture, oh, this came out wrong. That's okay. I was designing this new studio. This is our Launch 48 studio, and I was wanting to design it. So what did I do? I went on LinkedIn, and I searched on LinkedIn for an interior designer. Once I found it, she wanted to talk to me through Facebook, right? Through Facebook Messenger. That was her communication of choice. Then after doing that, we were looking at stuff, and she's like, hey, let's start a Pinterest board and start pinning stuff that you want for your studio. And then I kept pinning pictures of reclaimed barnwood tables. She's like, hey, let's get these tables. Let's Google it. So we Googled it. We went on Kijiji. We found a WordPress site of the actual person. The person's call to action was text me for a quote. Thank God. I was like, I didn't want to call somebody, right? Because we hate using the phone. And so I text him. We were going back and forth, and immediately within maybe 10 minutes, he sent me a link to a PayPal link to pay him $4,000 for 3 different tables. And then I said, wait, hold on a second. I was like, I didn't even know this guy. I was like, so what do? You Google him, right? So I started Googling him, read all the reviews, took a look at his shop online, and then I said, okay, this guy checks out, paid, and 1 week later I had my tables, right? We've got very strange purchase habits, and I go around Canada, US, and am paid money to educate old people on what the heck this is, because they have no idea why we're buying products in such a strange way. You know how people used to buy tables? They went to a store. That's my path, but for some reason it's easier. All right, even after buying a table, right? I shared it on Facebook. I reviewed the guy on Google+. I told friends in real life that I actually have coffee with about these new nice tables that I have, right? And I actually texted him and bought more. We've got a very strange purchase pattern, all right? Which brings us to online ads. And I want to talk about online advertising, what's working, what's not, what you guys can do, some stuff for absolutely nothing, okay, for free. I've built a lot of different companies over the year. I like, my personal thing is I build one new company every year, and I use these methods I'm going to show you to build each one of these companies, all right? So first thing is location, right? Location. People are like, it's not, what your business is where it is, right? And your location is online. And so we have to understand, as we're building these things, we need to have a good online persona. And so, major traffic drivers is social media and search. Social search. You want a digital strategy? What's your social strategy? What's your search strategy? Why? Because you're either approaching people or people are trying to find you. These are the two pillars that we need to focus on. I'm just trying to make this stupidly simple, guys. I'm not trying to make it too complex and show you, crazy amounts of numbers. Number one, which is really important, and it almost pains me to say this, but we actually don't need to get on social media. Okay? Every time people come out of my workshops and stuff, they're like, oh, that's awesome. We need to get on social media. And I'm like, please don't. First, develop a social strategy, and then get on social. Strategy first, not tactics. People jump into tactics all the time. And I've been part of the local community college, and I'm judging different things, and we're like, oh, what are you doing for advertising? At the end, they're like, and we're going to advertise this on Facebook. I was like, is that it? That's your whole idea. You're going to go on the Facebook. That's stupid. We need a strategy. And we need to think about, where our customer is in these strategies. Very simple stuff. This is marketing 101, guys. I know this may be very basic, but trust me, most companies are just like, okay, let's do this. Let's get on Instagram. Let's get on Pinterest. Let's get on, Google+. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's get on MySpace. And you're like, honestly, why? Because customers are on different networks for different purposes at different times, okay? 30% of Canadians are on LinkedIn, 91% on YouTube, 82% are on Facebook, right? But if you're selling, somebody give me a product, any type of product that you're selling, anything.
DJ services.
DJ services, thank you. You're selling DJ services, okay? So what does the consumer look like? The person buying it isn't going to look for DJ services on Pinterest. Don't go on Pinterest. It's stupid. It's a stupid strategy right from the beginning, right? Pinterest, people are looking for 4 things. 97% of people on Pinterest are female, and they're looking for 4 different things. What are those 4 things?
Wedding stuff.
Okay, not all at once. Sorry.
Wedding stuff.
Wedding, yeah, I'm going to put that into fashion. Okay, so that's category number 1. Number 2. Do-it-yourself stuff, yeah, and I'm going to also put crafts with that. What else?
Recipes.
Recipes, yep. That's always the one that's missed. Well done. And? Huh? Nothing? Beauty? I'm going to put that in another. Kids. Kids stuff. I don't know. It's just kids' bedrooms, kids' crap, kids' everything, right? The first, Pinterest is the most fascinating network because when somebody first goes on Pinterest, their first experience of Pinterest, they spend an average of 3 hours and 10 minutes on it for their first session, right? Because they're like, oh, wow, yeah, that's amazing, right? I read this report, and then I'd purposely, people that weren't on Pinterest, are like, hey, let me show you Pinterest. I'd sign them up, and I'd just start walking away, and they're like, oh, wow. And I'd leave the room. They wouldn't even know. Half an hour later, I'd come back, and they're like, oh, look at that. So we have to think about our customer. Where are they? And when they are there, what are they doing? And can I approach them at that point and talk about my services? Because we're on them for different reasons. How many of us are friends with somebody on Facebook that is part of a multi-level marketing group? Okay? And we laugh because you hate them, right? We hate these people because they're advertising crap all the time. I'm sick and tired of essential oils. Okay? I just have to say that. I am sick and tired of essential oils. Not because I believe they're like voodoo and they don't work. It's just, I just see them all the time. And people are like, because I don't go on Facebook to learn about essential oils. I go on to connect with my family and friends. How many are friends with a real estate agent on Facebook? That's even worse. They're showing you homes that you can't afford to buy or don't want to buy every single day and talking about open houses. Hide. Right? That's not a strategy. That's just blasting. That's spam. Okay? And people will hate you if you do that. You'll burn through all of your relationships. All right? Here's an example. I went to a kids' play place the other day, right? Middle of winter, 4 kids. Guys, these plays save my life. Okay? Walk into the play place. This is what they have on their front door. Follow us on these social media links. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, RSS. What the hell? Really simple syndication? Okay, so I'm going to go on your website, I'm going to find your RSS feed and plug it into my XML reader and read all the blogs that you didn't write about your stupid place that I don't care about? That's not a strategy. This is just dumb. Okay? LinkedIn. Why would I want to connect with a kids' play place on LinkedIn? Right? They even call them links. They don't even have an address. I don't know what their handle is. They bought these stickers hoping that it was going to help their business. All right? Don't do this stuff. Strategy first. We got to choose the right tool for the right job. All right? When you're thinking about your customer, pretend like you are one. Just for a minute. Being like, what networks am I in? How could I be approached? What would entice me? What's attractive for me buying DJ services? For me, DJ services, great. You know what? To be honest, I would actually go after Google as a result because the people that are hiring her for DJ services are people working corporate and event managers that are looking to hire services. And so they may just say, DJs for hire Toronto, and they're wanting to pick one of the 3 vendors and hire one of them. That is a great customer strategy, right? That works. I'd also go on LinkedIn. I hope you're listening, Cleo. You're taking notes? Okay, good. You go on LinkedIn, you search for event marketers or event coordinators or event planners on LinkedIn, which you can search, do the geographic area for Toronto, find all those people, send them an invitation, and talk about your services. There's over 1,000 people that would connect with you tomorrow, right? That's your customer. That's a strategy. All right? Blasting isn't a strategy. Now, I'm going to show you a couple cool social media strategies, and before I show you these ones that have made millions of dollars and all that fun stuff, I'm going to start with a strategy from a 5-year-old, and I can share this one because it is my 5-year-old. All right? And so one summer, like any normal dad, I walked up to my 5-year-old daughter. I said, "Hey, summertime, you can ask Daddy for any amount of money that you want, whatever you want, but you have to double it by the end of the summer. Okay? You've got to start your own business." And her name is Grace. And so she looked at me. She's like, "Okay, Dad." She's like, I want to start a business." I'm like, "Okay, great." I got a piece of paper out, 4 P's, right? Product, place, price. Promotion, thank you. We're in school, right? I have to do that, right? And so we sat down, and that's Grace. And I was like, "Okay, product. What are you going to sell?" "Lemonade." "Awesome. Lemonade and Frappuccinos," right? I'm a marketer. I have to just kind of like push her a little bit. "Price, what are you going to sell it for?" 25 cents, Dad. $2. Yeah. Sounds great. $2, because I know the market can bear it, right? Place, where are you going to do it? "Well, let's do it on our driveway." "Free rent." "Great. No overhead." "Fantastic." You're thinking, right? Promotion. "Dad, what's promotion?" Right? And now I'm a digital marketer, so I'm like, okay, don't scare her. So I said, "Grace, how are people that should buy your lemonade going to know that they need to buy it and how to get there?" And she thought about it for like a second. She goes, "Dad, you know when you invite people to our house for my birthday party on Facebook?" I was like, "Yeah." She goes, let's create one of those event things, but this time let's not like make it private. Let's make it public so that people can invite their friends. And then people want to come because it's me, so let's put a picture of me on top." And then I was like, "Okay, great." And then she's like, and you know what? Take out your phone. I will personally invite all these people, and now I'm going to tell them to invite all their friends, and if that happens, then we may have a whole bunch of people that are going to come to this lemonade stand. All right, so I had like tears coming down my face. It's like, she's 5. She came up with a better social media marketing strategy than most companies that I come across like every single day, okay? Why? She picked the right medium. She picked the right network. She picked the right message. She did video. She was incorporating all this stuff. She's 5 years old. How did it turn up? Well, we invited about 47 people personally, all right? Just my own personal friends, people in the neighborhood, et cetera, like that. And that was within 2 minutes, all right? 3 minutes into it, so it was 1 minute later, 106 people were invited. Within 10 minutes, we had 291 people that were invited. And I remember she was looking at this. She's like, she goes, "These numbers are positive." And I was like, I was so freaking proud. So anyways, we started up the next day, right? We set up the lemonade stand. We got ready. We got all of our lemonade stuff out. She hired me for $1 an hour, which I still think is a little generous for a 5-year-old. And then, we just started out. Our first 2 customers was our local MP from the Conservative Party, Brad Butt, that's his name, and our city councilor, Sue McFadden, that came for a photo op. And my daughter turns to me, she goes, "Dad, this is going to be good." And I was like, yeah, we have 2 politicians starting with us as our first 2 customers. This is awesome. And then the worst thing possible happened. It rained, okay? It poured. So we only had a very small lineup. This is the only picture I took because I was so busy afterwards, like doing stuff. I just had too much time. There was a lineup that went all the way down the street of people standing with umbrellas waiting for Grace's lemonade stand, okay? And it was pouring, and they drove there for lemonade. Now, at the end of the day, we're part of a business school, so we've got to learn what the meat and potatoes is here. Her income was $144. She spent $50 on materials, which will help her with the next lemonade stand, which did. And so she profited $94 in an hour and a half. All right? She's 5. All right, if we want to break that down, as I sat down with her, I said, well, if we were to break that down hourly, that's $62. Weekly, that's $2,300. Annual, it's a 6-figure, salary, $112,000. And if we have cumulative growth of 20% year over year, which I think is conservative, she would make $1 million in 11 years. And guys, I'm not BSing. I actually did the numbers for this stuff, okay? My point is, if my 5-year-old can make $62 an hour, right, with a very simple idea, guys, what can you do with your companies? It's not hard. Okay, it's just coming up with the right strategy. We take a look at the different social networks that are out there right now. And you know, networks like Snapchat that nobody thought was going to catch on, right? They just, as of now, reach 10 billion video views a day. That's billion with a B. Okay? YouTube only streams 4 billion viewed videos per day. All right, and nobody thought that that was ever able to take over. Daily average time spent on Snapchat, 25 to 30 minutes every single day. We want to take a look at the stats. That reaches 41% of young people in the United States, where traditional TV ads reach 6%. This is changing, all right? More people, Gatorade got more impressions out of just putting a filter during the Super Bowl than all their commercials from like the last 10 years. It was incredible, right? Just with the new network, new people. All right, now in regards to social selling, how do we do this, Darrell? How does social media turn into sales? I want to show you. It's very simple. It's nothing new. It's actually just personal selling online, okay? But it's a 4-step process, right? We've got content that generates conversation. Conversation generates relationships, and relationships generate revenue. Content, conversation, relationship, revenue. Content, conversation, relationship, revenue. Don't ever get off of this path. Because what the purpose is here is content's only job, the content that you're posting on Facebook or Snapchat or whatever, its only job is to create a conversation. And conversations over time, if I have a conversation with you, not one-sided, I can't say, hi, my name's Darrell, I'm CEO of Candybox Marketing, we do SEO, PPC, website design, do you want to buy something, do you want to buy, do you want to buy, do you want to buy? Like, that's not a conversation, okay? But online, a lot of people do that. We skip conversation, we skip relationship, and say, hey, we want revenue, right? And so every single post, everything we do, that realtor friend, that that multi-level marketer friend, they're just posting stuff online that's trying to bypass relationship and conversation. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to be friends with you. I want to sell you crap, and I want your money. That's what I call social prostitution. It's disgusting, it's not good, and it makes us unfriend people en masse. All right? We need to stop doing that. Content, conversation, relationship, revenue. What does this actually look like? Well, this is one of our customers, Leslie Sansone, Walk at Home. All right? If anyone's ever heard of her before, she's kind of more popular in the U.S. For a couple different demographic reasons I'm not going to get into. But she walks on the spot. Okay? She marches. Like, she's like this. Yeah, have you seen her before? Yeah, yeah, your mom watches. There you go. She marches. She videotapes herself marching. Okay? Like this. Like, literally, guys, not kidding. And she sells DVDs of her marching. So you can march with her in your living room. 5 miracle miles was her last video. I can't make this stuff up, okay? But she sells $25 million per year in Walk Fitness DVDs. Okay? Not too stupid. Now, years ago, she's like, hey, Darrell, let's go on to Facebook. I was like, okay, let's do it. We got 400,000 fans, and it turns out that her fans loved talking about walking on the spot. People would share stuff. People would comment on everything. It was huge amounts of engagement. And after we launched the successful campaign, her e-commerce sales and traffic doubled. And that's good numbers. Just to let you know, I know none of us are great in math, but when you're doubling, that's good, just because of a Facebook page. How did she double? Well, she'd put up videos like this. Here's 3 minutes with me just marching. It was content, good content. Not like this ad being BOGO, buy one, get one free, 15% off, just pumping links. No. She started with content, saying, hey guys, here's a quick 5-minute belly buster for you to do at your workplace today. We'd have thousands of people commenting. Thousands of people on this one post, it's ridiculous, sharing it. 4,000 people shared this one video post. And they would share it as their own testimonial. Hey guys, check out Leslie Sansone. You should walk along with her. And people are walking with their friends. And then after we're growing this company and everything was exploding, she's like, hey, people want to walk with other people. They don't just want to walk at home. So we started a walk leader program and sold it for $1,000 a year for every person to become a walk leader. So you can become a walk leader in your area, which means you can hold walk classes. Okay? You're paying $1,000 to learn how to walk on the spot with the group. All right? And now she's got thousands of walk leaders. Guys, she paid attention to the simple rules of social, right? Content, create conversation. Conversation, she developed relationships. People love her, and relationships build revenue. Why? Because every time she releases a video or anything online, people feel like they've got this connection with her, which they do, and also my staff of social media experts. And so they feel like this connection, and so they share the stuff online, and it costs her this much in advertising. All right? Content is still king. People are always like, oh, content's king. I don't agree with that. Good content is king. Okay, good content. Meaning don't just like post every single day, hey, look, we got a new coffee maker at the university. What a great day. Hey, is that making us any money? No, it's not. Like that, we've got to have good content, right? Which could be blogs, images, infographics, short videos, links, reviews, anything. You don't need to do all this stuff. You just need to do a few things well. All right, so when you're building your social media plan, don't try to be all things to all people. Just say, you know what, we're going to focus on Snapchat. We're going to do 20 videos a day. This is what we're going to focus on. Here's our demographic. This is how we're attracting people, and go with that. Don't do everything. All right, we take a look at just a couple tips on becoming social and starting social businesses. Number one, have a plan to generate content. Don't let social media happen to you. It's such a real-time thing that people are like, oh, well, let's just see what we post today. Guys, that's not a strategy. Because days like today, February 7th, when it's like raining crap outside and we all feel terrible and depressed, okay, it is not the day to like think up what you want to post. Have a schedule. Okay, have a plan in place. What are we talking about on Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays? And yes, we're going to have an event and there'll be additional things that we're going to talk about, but we need to have a skeleton plan in place to be successful. Guys, every successful company has a plan. It doesn't just happen to you, okay? The Chewbacca lady happened once, all right? That's not like a long-term plan for any company. Number two, recognize others. Don't be about yourself all the time. Be about your audience. Talk about what they care about. Number three, what's in it for me with them, right? Think about your customer. What do they want? For Leslie, it's a 5-minute belly buster, right? For your customer, it's going to be something very different. Don't give her the Leslie video. It's not going to work. All right, number four, ask questions. If you want to have conversations with people, this is like Sociology 101. Ask questions. Want to get to know somebody? Ask them questions. Ask, what do I do in scenarios? I go to events all the time. I don't know anybody. What do? I just ask questions until the people start talking. That's all I have to do. All right? Ask people questions. Number five, share third-party content. Don't make it all about yourself. If you always talk about yourself, you look like you are very self-absorbed. And that may work for the Kardashians, but it doesn't work for most businesses. And last thing is analyze responses. See what's working, what's not working. Okay, if it's not working, drop it. If people are sharing it, find out why. All right, this is Megan. Megan is one of the most influential people in Canada on Pinterest. She is also my sister-in-law. She only told me this 6 months ago. She's like, oh yeah, did you know I'm like the top whatever person in Pinterest? I was like, what the heck? She's a teacher. She teaches for the Toronto District School Board. And actually, sorry, no, she's not a teacher. She's a psychologist. I was like, how are you the most important person on Pinterest? She's like, oh, I just post stuff that's really cool every day for 10 to 15 minutes. Okay? She beats Home Depot. She beats all the fashion magazines. Why? Because she just posts on a consistent basis. She's got a lot of followers, and she gives her followers what they want. Really white housing decorating stuff. That's a terrible explanation. She's going to kill me for that. Don't record that. So she just posts that stuff. She's got 112,000 followers in Canada on Pinterest, and companies are paying her every month just to take pictures of their products around her house. All right? Why? Content, conversation, relationship. All right? My best advice for people getting into social media marketing is do one thing really, really, really well. Okay? Do one thing. Once you conquer that, go on to the next thing. All right? Don't just try to blast across every network. Try one thing really well. Here's an example of a really cool campaign by Tangerine. Tangerine posted out on Twitter the other day, and recognize this. They said, "What's at the top of your wish list once you retire?" Hashtag RSP ready. What are they doing here? Conversation. They're not saying today's posted rate is 1.24%. Click here to sign up for your RSP contribution. March 1st is coming soon. No, they didn't do that. TD does that crap. They said, hey, what's at the top of your wish list? And they put a picture of a cute little pig with a curly tail. That caught my eye. And so I quickly responded to them. Why? Because they wanted a conversation. So I responded, engagement. Tangerine Bank, I don't want to move so I can still throw family parties. Smiley faced, hashtag RSP ready. I answered them, right? And then here's the coolest part. They answered me back like seconds later. Totally understandable, especially with 4 kids. What do they do here? They creeped me. Thank you. Now they're flattering me because they looked at my online persona, not like Darrell, you live at 72, 73, like not that kind of creeping, but they said, okay, what is important to Darrell? They figured it out very quickly. I'm a very proud dad. They went on and they answered me and they're having a conversation. Now I feel like I've got a better relationship with Tangerine than my own bank that I'm banking with. This is weird. I don't have a relationship with them. It was some person, somewhere just, tweeting back at me, but it actually worked. When we start conversations, we need to continue them. A lot of people have social media strategies. They're like, okay, we're posting once a day on Facebook, twice on Twitter, one time on Snapchat, and then we're just going to call it a day. No! We have to answer people. We have to have conversations with people. All right? Then finally, we also need to, as we're doing this, we need to learn the language that the people we're attracting, okay? I saw this on Facebook the other day. It horrified me, all right? I'm friends with some guy that is into some shady, weird financial stuff, okay? I would not trust this guy with a bag of water, all right? And he put up on his Facebook, I blocked out his name because oh my goodness. Lunch and learn to the first 20 people. What's wrong with this statement? Sorry?
There's a spelling error.
Oh yeah, there's tons of errors. What else is wrong with it? It's on all caps. He's screaming at me. He's inviting me by shouting at me. I don't even want to intimidate what this sounded like in my head when I read it. It was like, you're just like, oh gosh, you just can't read it. Why? He doesn't know the language. Right? He's like, oh, I want to use my Facebook to grow my business, but I haven't learned the language. If you're getting into a network, learn the language. Figure out how to do simple things like upload a file. Okay? Look at this. Look at this. File, colon, backslash, slee, colon, user, slash, his username, which I also blacked out, right? App data, local, Microsoft, at the end, lunch and learn, underscore, proof, 20, version 5, .pdf. What an idiot. Okay? This is his marketing strategy. Guys, if we're going to get onto social networks, learn the language before we start engaging. I connected with the CEO of a major transportation company the other day. Guys, I'm stressed out that I have to show you these slides. It's just to kind of make an example. And yes, I'm blacking out every name. Okay? A CEO of a major transportation company in Canada connected with me. I was like, this is amazing. Right? This is my marketing strategy. I'm going in for the kill, right? And in my news the next day on LinkedIn, he posts this publicly. This is not a private message. This is posting. First wall is down. Kitchen is measured. New garbage bin arrived. I need your credit card number, babe. I need size of the microwave all at once. He's a hopeless romantic, this guy, Calling her babe in between asking her for measurements and her credit card number. Guys, I can't make this stuff up. This happened last week. All right? I kept checking back just to see if she would answer in the comments with a credit card number because I was like, man, I just got to let her know. But guys, we have to learn how to use these networks. All right? I want to skip this slide just because I don't feel like talking about it. Relationships. All right? Once we build relationships, that equals revenue. Once we build relationships, that equals revenue. One of the best parts of this program right here tonight, and Cleo was telling me all about this program, is the people that are in the room with you today, right? They may not be your customer today, they may not be your vendor, but they're going to be your customer in a couple years, right? You guys are going to start working together. You guys have this network here that honestly, I wish I was part of this course like 10 years ago. This would be amazing. And it's because relationships bring revenue over time. It's about who you know. And so we need to think about this. Now, if we've never done this before, how do we build a plan? Here's a 4-step program, okay? Very easy. Number 1, think about your customer. Choose what networks they're on. What networks are your customers on? Number 2, build a schedule. How often are you posting on those networks based on that schedule? Based on that network. If you're on Twitter, you got to post a lot more. By the way, Twitter's dying. If you guys haven't read, the engagement is going down. If they're on Pinterest, how many times are you pinning a day? Right? Source content. Right? Figure it out. And then finally, start engaging and analyze responses. Actually start engaging. Very simple. You need to start this process. I want to show you guys a couple things on LinkedIn because, to be honest, I've used this strategy to actually build companies, okay? At the end, don't worry if you don't catch everything. I'm going to give you guys a free call to action where you can get all my tips for nothing. And no, you're not going to be sold anything, all that stuff. I'm not that type of marketer. But if I spend 60 minutes on LinkedIn with this strategy I'm about to show you, I'll spend the next 6 weeks following up with new customers. I get overloaded, okay? It takes me 60 minutes to find my customers. You guys ready to see this? B2B strategies, not B2C, all right? Number 1, search. Okay? Who are you looking for? So I gave the advice earlier on to Cleo, and she's now missing from the room. You're welcome, Cleo. All right? So research. Who's your customer? Who are they? Right? What are their titles? What are their positions? What companies do they work at? All that stuff. Go to LinkedIn. Click on Advanced Search. Okay? It's right at the top. You get this page. You can do this crap for free. Sorry. You don't have to pay anything for this. Okay? So put in here title. You know, if you're going after CEOs, put CEO. If you're going after event planners, put in there. Put in the title. Then you can put in the location around you. And then you get a list of people. People used to pay a lot of money for this stuff. All right? Second slide here. After we research, then we take a look at this. Right? So at one point, I was going after deans of universities and colleges because I teach university, college professors, and university professors digital marketing. Kind of funny, but anyways. And so I know this is the purchaser, right? So I go to the profile. Before you click on connect and send them a generic invitation saying, I'd like to add you to my professional network on LinkedIn, which works never. Okay? Don't ever do that. Review. Read his profile. Who is he? Who is she? What do they like? What do they write about themselves? Where do they work? What do they feel proud about? What are their motivations? What are they thinking? What are their needs? Think about your customer. Okay? After I've done that, then I click on connect and I say we've done business together at Candybox Marketing. Yes, this is a little bit of area of gray. It's just my prophetic sense looking into the future, knowing that I'll probably be doing business with this guy. Okay? He doesn't see this, by the way. He doesn't see that. All right? So it's a little gray, but it's okay. Most people don't know why they're getting LinkedIn invitations to begin with. And then in the bottom, it says include a personal note. Delete the default of what LinkedIn gives you. Hi, I'd like to add you to my professional network on LinkedIn. Guys, I get like 10 of those a day. Okay, I don't read any of them. I don't pay attention to anybody. It's gone, right? Change this into a personal note based on your review. Who is this person? What are the motivations? So this one, hey Michael, hope you're well. I love the work that you've done for Seneca over the last few years in the entrepreneurship space. We met a few years ago at OCMC. I'd love to stay connected, get your updates. I'm talking about him. Why? Because I want to not just approach him like a pushy salesperson online that's going to be marked as spam. I'm trying to build a relationship with him first. Okay? I'll send out 10 of these in like 10 minutes, and I'll usually get 3 or 4 responses back from very important people saying, hey, Darrell, thank you. I would love to connect with you, right? They're looking at my profile. They're looking at what I'm doing, and all of a sudden now we've got something, right? We've got a relationship building. Guys, this takes minutes, not hours. You don't have to go to keep going to networking meetings to try to get these connections. Just go on LinkedIn and find them. All right? After that, then you start engaging, right? Somebody connects with me immediately. Once somebody connects with me, almost everybody, not everybody, I'll send them a message. Hey, Michael, thanks for connecting. You know, I would love to grab a coffee sometime, right? And I just make it into their network. And people say, Darrell, how did you land Fox? Like we landed Fox Broadcasting 2 years ago as a client, right, in Hollywood. They're like, how do you learn that? LinkedIn. I sent a message to one of the producers, and they invited me down, for a thing, and we did the Facebook advertising for the show Glee for 2 years. Fantastic. How? Simple human interactions. All right? If you want to learn how to do this, if you go to candybox.co, all right, this is just a freebie, guys. I made this simply to be free. All right, I'm not selling anything. Candybox.co, it's not .com. Candybox.co/LinkedIn. You can put your name in there and your email address. And for 30 days straight, I'm going to email you one tip every single morning at 6 a.m. for you to take 5 minutes and do. By the end of the 30 days, you're going to be a LinkedIn expert. All right? It just takes a bit of time, and LinkedIn doesn't train you this stuff. It's really, really simple. All right? So go ahead and copy down that information. Next, I want to talk about is influencer marketing. Okay, influencer marketing has become really hot. People are talking about it, saying, "Hey, who's influencing who in the marketplace?" And they're like, "Oh, well, we can get into these bloggers and the mommy bloggers and get people to blog about our product." But did you guys know what the largest influencer campaign was last year in Canada? It was for a very popular consumer brand. It's red and it's in your kitchen. Do you guys remember? Sorry? KitchenAid? Not KitchenAid. Heinz. Do you remember this post? Yeah. Okay. If you didn't see this post, you're either not on Facebook, you live under a rock or something. And what happened, if you don't know the story here, what happened was and if you were to ask me a year ago, Darrell, what is one brand, what is one consumable brand that you'll never change? It would be Heinz ketchup. Okay. My wife one time brought home President's Choice, and I was literally what is this crap? I was I took it and I just put it in the garbage. I was we just wasted $2. But the lesson has been learned, Okay? Heinz, there's no other Heinz, right? We're very loyal to Heinz. And then what happened? Heinz had a factory in Leamington, Ontario, right? They had 740 workers. I've been to Leamington, Ontario, and I'm shocked that there's 740 people that live there, okay? It's a nowhere town. And sorry if you're from Leamington, Ontario, anybody here? They're going to throw tomatoes at me, literally. And so, you know, and they shut down operations. They moved to the U.S. They fired 740 people. French's came in. They said, hey, you know what? We're going to buy the factory. We're going to hire back that same 740 people. We're going to start making ketchup, and we're going to brand it French's, and we're going to sell that to Canadians, all right? Now, PR went about it. It floated like a lead balloon. Nobody really talked about this story, which was a great story. And then comes along Brian Fernandez, okay? Brian Fernandez is walking down, you know, Loblaws in Aurelia, okay? He's a construction worker, picks up the French's, takes a picture of it, posts this story. He's got 120 friends on Facebook, okay? People are like, that's not an influencer at all. This was shared at this point 129,000 times. Okay? It reached the hundreds of millions of impressions across Canada. Immediately, when I saw this post, I called my wife. I was like, hey, babes. I was like, no more Heinz. Okay? We have just switched as a family to French's. I need you to go get French's. Okay? This is serious. She called me an hour later. She's like, Darrell, I've been to 4 stores. Nobody has French's. I'm like, no, that's obsessive. I was like, that's like I wasn't that crazy. But like Loblaws couldn't keep it on the shelves. Everybody switched overnight because of Brian Fernandez, okay, in Aurelia. This is insane what's happening. Why? Because it was a good story, right? If you want people to talk about you, do cool stuff and allow these guys to share your message. And even after this, it was the biggest PR nightmare because Heinz also had, you know, different products in different places across Ontario. So they also sell different things. I don't know all the things. And people stopped buying all of Heinz stuff, which are made by Canadians. And so now there's like a huge outcry, right? And then next week came the leaked memo. Did you guys hear about this? Leaked memo online where somebody had a memo from one Loblaws employee to the other saying, please pull all French's ketchup because it's interfering with the sale of President's Choice ketchup. So remove it from the shelves. So they actually removed it, right? And so it was gone. So now people don't want to buy French's, or there's no French's there. They don't want to buy Heinz. Well, just get the PC brand for now. Screw Heinz. Hate Trump, you know? Protect America. Just kidding, guys. Wow. What happened? They had a nightmare. They had all these customers saying, I will not shop at Loblaws anymore. All right? And every customer to Loblaws is worth $230,000 over their lifetime of shopping. All right? So now Loblaws' stock is going down. Why? Brian Fernandez. Okay? We can't underestimate influencers. All right? If you want to get people to talk about you, do something awesome. Come up with that kind of strategy. Don't come up with strategy and be like, let's advertise. Do something amazing, and you'll find that people want to talk about amazing stories. All right? We had a client, Meccano. Spin Master Toys owns Meccano. They're just downtown here. And they came to us like, yeah, we want to, engage people on building, using Meccano again. Right? It's a 150-year-old toy. And we're like, you know what, instead of going on Facebook and doing this, why don't we build a website where people can post their own builds of Meccano onto your website, and then people are going to share their own posts about your product. Okay, so we created a simple site, less than 100 words, and we've got thousands of people every single day sharing their Meccano builds, and all of a sudden, Meccano sales are up. We're just engaging influencers. Austin Martin wanted to release a car to the auto show, and instead of releasing it at the auto show, they released it on the Autobahn, right, on the back of a glass truck, and people were taking pictures of it. Now, no, I think this is a stupid idea. This guy is driving, and now he's taking a picture of a car on a highway. That is the Autobahn. Bad idea. But anyways, it got more impressions on the Autobahn than it did, right, the previous years at auto shows. All right? In regards to search engine marketing, it's not going away. I just want to do a quick time check. Cleo, what time do we want to go to? Like 8? Is that good, or is that too long?
That's fine.
Okay, just checking. Search engine marketing, right? It's not going away. I can share a ton of stats, but obviously we're searching more and more and more. This is my friend Matthew. He was immigrated from South Africa a few years back, had no clients. He was a hairstylist, started working at a salon. He said, Darrell, what should I do with social media? I said, just get consumer reviews. Get people reviewing you on your Google Map page. Because as more people are reviewing, Google says, okay, if somebody's looking for a stylist and this one person has like a whole bunch of good reviews, let's give this person, right, priority over all the other stylists. Why? Because people review them. So every time somebody said, hey, thanks so much by email, he'd say, hey, thanks, no problem. Please leave me a review. He's got, over time, what is this, 82 reviews on Google Maps. Like his competition had less than 10. In 1 year, he had to quit his job, open up a full salon. He now has, I think, 6 stylists working under him because he can't deal with the demand, and he just won like Stylist of the Year in all of Oakville. He's got one of the biggest thriving stylist business in the GTA. Why? Reviews. Okay? This is free. You don't need to pay for this stuff. $10,000, Why be first? 75% of businesses go to search engines first when they're looking for new suppliers. We know this is critical. Guys, if you're doing your own business, start your own search engine optimization. Learn it. Get people to talk about you. In regards to the updates over this last year, there's been a lot of really cool updates. We've seen in-store visits. Now, I know this is almost creepy in 1984-ish, but I was born in 1984, so I never read the book. Google's actually tracking you. So if you're like looking for like a stylist, in like around like Yonge and Dundas Square, and you walk into the stylist, they will notify the stylist that there's been a conversion on that advertisement because you physically walked in there with the same phone that just searched it a few minutes ago. All right? Kind of creepy. For me, I'm a marketer, kind of cool. Responsive ads, right? Ads on mobile have been taking off. Remarketing. Guys, remarketing people, I love remarketing. It's great. It's so easy to convert somebody that has already been interested in your product if you just keep following them, right? So the other day, it's like I was looking at the Google Pixel phone. I was on the Pixel website for a few minutes just taking a look. I'm not switching brands. I was just interested, right? And then every single site that I go to, it's advertising the Pixel, reminding me, hey, Darrell, you hadn't made a purchase on that yet. You hadn't made a decision on that yet. Let us remind you about the Pixel. Let us remind you, this costs pennies on the dollar to advertise on. Remarketing is one of the cheapest, most effective way of marketing online because we're taking people that were in the purchase process and just constantly hitting them without being annoying. Well, that's up to you. Generating prospects online, okay? So we talked a bit about search and social. We've talked about like how to drive traffic. But I have to stress this point that it is more important where you're bringing web traffic to than where you're bringing it from. Some people are like, Darrell, we've got 10,000 followers on Twitter. I'm like, so what? How many customers do you have? Twitter doesn't pay you like 10,000 social media points for just having followers. That's stupid, right? That's celebrities go after that, but not most businesses. And it's about having a web presence that can convert prospects into customers. All right, 26% of Canadian shoppers don't trust companies that don't have a website, right? So if you don't have a website today, they just don't trust you, a quarter of Canadians. And 40% of Canadians, our businesses, don't have websites to begin with. This is very basic, okay? Going back like 30 years here. Where websites go wrong. Now, I've even written a book on this. It's called 37 Ways Your Website Has Died and How to Resurrect It. Okay? Websites go wrong right at the beginning. If you're building a website today, a lot of us have done that. Wix, whatever, that's great. Websites go wrong, once again, in the planning phase. A lot of people write websites like this. Okay, let's have let's have our homepage and then about us, our team, our products, our services, me, about us, our company, our this, how awesome we are. It's just all about them and not about the customer, right? And a lot of companies do this, and their marketing dollars go and say, you know what, I pray to God that they contact us. They just click that contact us button. And you'll see companies that are desperate that'll make the contact us button bigger. And there's like an arrow pointing at it or like a red arrow that goes over it. That's desperate and it's stupid. The stat is right now, if somebody wants to contact you, only 1 out of 10 of those people, so only 10% of people that want to speak to you will ever fill out this contact us form. Why? Why don't you fill out generic contact us forms? It's not going to be personal, yeah. I'm looking for something and I don't know where the heck this is going. What else?
No one ever responds.
No, never a response. They're like, this is the most generic form ever. Name, email, comments. You're like, I don't have comments. Nice website. I hate it. What else? There's one more reason.
Social media?
Nope. We put our email somewhere. And then? Spam. We hate spam. We are afraid of contact us forms, right? We're afraid that we're going to be put onto a list, so we don't fill out these things. So what does work? Customer value forms, okay? Where 1 out of 10 customers won't fill out their information, will fill out their information on the contact us form. 9 out of 10 of your customers, of B2B customers, will fill out a form if they get something of value in return. All right, sometimes we hate these things, but I'll be honest, as a marketer, they work. Fill out your information and get the first 4 chapters of my book for free. Fill out this information and get a free trial. Get a free this, get a PDF, a white paper, access to a video, anything. They know that their information is valuable, and they're not just going to give it up. And a lot of Canadians aren't going to just like phone you. So we need to think about what our call to action is for our websites. And then when we build websites, it's not about us. We build it out based on the products and services, right? So we build it saying, okay, you know, if you're selling insurance, right? Well, let's have auto insurance and home insurance and then business insurance as different pages, because if you're too general, nobody ever converts. I'm going to show you a couple examples of this, all right? This is my own corporate website, right? Just a picture of a desk, but it communicates something. But we have landing pages, individual pages. This one is to do with our social media workshop, right, for $400 with calls to action about it. This one is to do with keynote speaking, right, and me holding a crispy crunch bar, and it actually works too. We've got different pages for different purposes, which brings us to this. I can summarize a lot of what I know about online marketing in these 2 circles. That's pretty pathetic, but I went to college, okay, so thank you. Customer intent and your website offering. You've got these 2 things. The closer these things come together, the higher your conversion ratio. If you are looking to hire a female DJ in Toronto for your event, and you come to a page that says, we hire out generic talent. We are very good at generic talent needs. You're not really meeting the customer intent, and so your conversion ratio is going to be low. But if we meet sorry about that. The website offer with what you're looking for and saying, hey, we do female DJs for corporate events, and here's our information, here's our packages, and here's a call to action with your name and email to download our pricing guide. All of a sudden, your conversion rate can go from 2% to 20%. All right, that means that every single person that you've been driving to that website and social media and search traffic actually counts for something. Guys, it's about holistic digital marketing strategies, not shotgun approaches. Now, in regards to websites, my question for a lot of companies these days is, does our website have speed bumps? Are there areas that stop our customer from going forward? If you actually have a website today, sorry, that call to action is a little bit grayed out there. We've got an audit. If you go to candybox.co/audit, you can put in your own website and your keywords and see how it measures up. It tests mobile, social, everything. You need to make sure your website is ready for visitors. Now, I want to show you a couple, one really fun example that I came up with just this last year to do with Uber. I didn't come up with Uber, obviously, or I would have arrived here on a Lear jet. And so this year, I got really frustrated because, this was a year ago, January 2016. There was a company, major insurance carrier, that came out with this product that was insurance for Uber drivers. So if you're an Uber driver, you're uninsurable. Actually, if they find out that you're an Uber driver, you're void of insurance, and even if you get into an accident, you're screwed, and that's really not good. So this insurance company said, hey, here's a great idea. We are going to come up with this product, which is insurance for Uber drivers. Fantastic. Their second idea is we're going to put it through broker channels, which means there's a lot of guys that are called insurance brokers, and all they do is they just sell what they're selling to you, and they make a big cut in between. You know, said that publicly because I've got a lot of customers in insurance. And so all these brokers came to me and said, hey, Darrell, we want to sell Uber insurance online. And I was like, that's a great idea. Let's do this, right? So I sent out proposals and everything, and nobody wanted to get in first, okay? Everyone's like, it's too risky, not really sure, don't really want to know if I want to get into this market, et cetera, et cetera. February 1st rolled around, the product launched, Uber insurance launched, and nobody was selling it online, all right? I was so pissed. I was like I'm a marketing agency, I shouldn't be that guy, but I was like, why is nobody selling this? So I walked into my studio, I said, guys, by noon today, I'm a nice boss, by the way, sometimes I'm very passionate. I was like, by noon today, I want a website selling Uber insurance, just Uber insurance. And by 5 o'clock tonight, I want to launch a Google ad campaign going after people looking for Uber insurance. And I want to generate leads by midnight. So we came up with the landing page. This is it, right? Selling Uber insurance, ridesharinginsurance.co. And we launched a campaign. We spent $50 in our first day, $50 in advertising, right? We launched everything really quickly. This is over a one-day period. And by the end of the night, I had 5 qualified insurance leads that wanted Uber insurance. Now, the problem with this story, if you haven't recognized yet, is that I don't sell insurance, right? So I've got all these leads that I'm paying for in a marketing program, and I have no customers. So I called an insurance customer. I said, hey, I have leads. You want them. Will you give me something for the lead? They're like, absolutely. I said, what, I figured out the market rate. They're like, we'll pay $50 a lead. I was paying 10 for advertising. I said, great. I said, how many do you want? They're like, as many as you want to give me. So fantastic. So I'm paying $1,000 a month in advertising now, and I'm making $10,000 profit, okay, on this program that we came up with in one day. All right? Very simple. No, those things don't happen all the time. It lasted 9 months until the program stopped. But guys, this is one day of just becoming the digital solution first, meeting the customer where they're at first, and then helping them process it through. Now, that's not good enough for me. I was like, okay, great. So we launched this website. We had a 14% conversion rate, which a lot of people thought was amazing. I was like, we can go higher. So we started changing the website and doing comparisons. We asked more questions of the driver just to see what the response was. Went down to 10% conversion. That's not good, okay? My profits started going down. Then I called it Uber insurance instead of ride-sharing insurance. Then I went down to 8%. Well done, Darrell. Marketer of the year right here, guys. This is my idea, right? Then I went through the form. Then I realized I was like, hey, we've got drop-downs on this form, which brings up like the wheel of death, right? Where you spin the wheel and then you have to click the X button, which is technically the continue button, which for me has never made sense on phones. So I was like, let's change all drop-down menus into radio buttons, okay? This is what I do for a living, guys. Like, major decisions. 16%. Well, that's positive, okay? Then I took a look at the picture and I said, you know what, the top picture there's a picture of a 2005 Honda Odyssey, not really the image that I want for Uber drivers. So we just changed the picture. No call to action, no anything else, just changed the picture. The picture of the Gardner Expressway. 33%. I just doubled my revenues, okay, just by having a different picture on there. Guys, the tools out there are available for you. It's about converting people into customers online, which is both art and science. And to be honest, there's a lot of opportunity of building businesses digitally. My question to you today is, in this time of disruption, this time where like everything is changing and adjusting, customers are changing, needs are changing, what side of disruption do you want to be on? Do you want to be part of companies that are doing things the same way, or do you want to be the part of change that are leading new ideas in this marketplace, making those revenues, and doing awesome with new business models? Alrighty? Thank you. Questions? Yes?
The landing pages you created, did you use it like a software or is it like completely from scratch?
Use software. It's called Unbounce. We do also build custom pages and stuff, but Unbounce, you could do it quickly.
And you can do A/B testing and that?
A/B testing, yeah.
Why do you think changing the picture to the highway worked in this specific example?
I believe that almost every sale is an emotional sale. And so like people are like, it's all, like people always come to sales with like facts and everything, but I feel like we make decisions emotionally. And when I saw the website where it's like a minivan on there, it just gave a perception about the brand and the service that wasn't communicating what I wanted to. Because Uber drivers is like, you think of like, black car, clean, like digital, progressive, and I had a minivan. So it just wasn't meeting that. So although the program didn't change at all, we were just meeting the emotional needs of the people that were looking at it. Okay? Yeah. Yeah.
Have you noticed a difference in conversion for your domain names, like .com or .co?
Not really, no. No, I mean, most people don't even realize. And so I find that you can buy a lot more .cos than .coms, right? And so if you're advertising, people are just clicking, like, they wouldn't notice it. Now, if you're depending on traditional advertising where they're looking at something and then entering it in on a computer, then you have a lot of people that could drop off that just don't understand that .co is a thing. Yeah.
Can you repeat the question after the ask Darrell?
Perfect, thank you. Yes. Yeah.
And how long should the A/B testing should take?
Okay. Question was, how long should the A/B testing take place? Always.
Like I mean like the period of time to check.
We're never not A/B testing.
No, other than like for running a single campaign, like maybe 10 days or 20 days.
To be honest, so we have like a champion like philosophy where it's like you're always testing something, even if it's just 10%. And so you're testing like something like, 80% of the time they're seeing this page, and then 10% page B, 10% page C, and you're always running that, and you're waiting for B and C to climb above A. And as soon as that happens, then, and you keep making tweaks, you may get rid of C, then add D, and then get rid of D, add E. But as soon as it goes over the percentage of what A is, allow it to be the champion for a while and see if it can consistently give you those results. I never stop A/B testing. I think A/B testing is always needed. Cool. More questions? Yes?
Yeah, how do you know the reviews are fake? Like, for example, your friend says hairstylists have 80 reviews. It doesn't take much effort to maybe have 80 accounts to post positive comments on it. So
Yeah. So the question is, how do you know that if like reviews are fake online? Most of these providers have ways of like determining if it's the same person, because even if it's the same computer or same IP address and it's within the same amount of time, Google or whoever it is will flag it as suspicious activity, and then they actually may blacklist the account. Right, so they've got their ways of dealing with stuff. You can also generally tell if like there's pictures and like how the way people write and everything like that. There's never foolproof of like not knowing that something is fake online. He never had any fakes. Like he had real people that did it. And if you do it organically, you'll do well. I've seen guys that sell services where they're literally posting fake reviews and all that stuff. It's shut down. It's shut down within like, if it's not weeks, it's months. And then your client is pretty pissed. So. Yeah, good questions. Anything else, guys? I know that by asking a question, you also prolong the time that you don't have pizza in your face, and so I'm not taking offense. I will be around for a bit. I think they're just getting ready. Take one more. Yeah?
I need a hint. If your customers want to remain anonymous, so they can't really write, like use your full name and do the review, then what can I do?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
So basically, the product they buy is like a cosmetic product. Not everyone wants to like
Okay.
parade what they do.
Sure, yeah.
So the review is good if they actually write it because it has your name onto it, like Facebook or whatever, right? But what happens if they want to remain anonymous?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then,
Yeah, that's hard because like in the world of anonymous, it's like everybody could just make up those types of accounts. Companies, like we've got some companies, I've got one company that sells lice removal products, and they suffer with reviews because nobody wants to be like, this was great, like, like with a picture there and their perfectly clean hair. And so it's just a challenge in that case, right, for finding people that actually want to review. But there's sometimes cosmetic products that people are fine with it, right? There's different services that almost like nobody will leave a review for. And so you've got to have a different tactic in place for those types of services. Fortunately, if you're in that line of work, then your competitors also have the exact same issue, and so it's a bit of a level playing field, right? Cool. We good? One more and then we're done.
Why the crispy crunch?
I love them. They're delicious. It's my favorite candy bar. There's a bigger story behind it, but I work for Candybox marketing, so I'm allowed to, have candy and show up with candy, and so people kind of expect it. Alrighty, cool. Guys, I'll be around afterwards. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.